Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years, but only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
I'm sitting up here just ringing the bell. I was so excited about today's show. I didn't even put myself into the stream, but I'm here now. Yes, and you are too. And there'll be others along in just a moment or two. But wherever you are and whenever you get here, just know this. Together, we're making spiritual history. That's what we're doing, creating divine moments because we're fulfilling one of my favorite promises that where two of us comes together, something wonderful is guaranteed to happen. So here we are. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michael Terrace, and it is the 16th day of March. Boy, we're moving along, aren't we? January, last month of Q1. How are you as far as being in alignment with your goals that you set just a few months ago? Status check, accountability check. Why? Because when we mean things, when we write things down, when we begin practicing things, it is because we believe it is what we've been shown and instructed to do in order to get us to where we need to be of our best service to this world and to ourselves, for that matter. So check it out. Go back and make sure you're being impeccable with your word. If you need to change something, change it. The free will thing, the come as you are thing is there so that when you're willing to bend your desires, the next step is to be willing to bend to the will of what is greater than yourself. Can I get an amen? All right. So good morning. Real quick, a couple of announcements like every morning, just to remind you. You're going to hear this all the way until we leave. That's right. We're headed to Romania. Our sponsorship packages and the sponsorship video are available. If you're interested in receiving those, just reach out to me, DM me on any of my social platforms, and I'll get that to you right away. 2 worlds separated, 2 letters exchanged, 1 gift delivered, and that is hope. And we're not just delivered. That's why I was stuck for a second. We're going to pick some up. I guess we are going to deliver it because we're going to bring it back. We're going to deliver hope. Hello to the people of Romania, but we're also going to bring hope back. And I'll talk about that when I get my guest, Reverend Randy Fikki, in here today. So yes, we're headed to Romania for the Legacy of Hope tour. If you can donate anything, $1, a dime, $1 million, hey, you never know, right? Or perhaps just some prayer, some love, and some support. We'll take that too. This is the power of we, not the power of me. It is a modern day stone soup story. So whatever you can bring, pour it into that pot known as mankind and watch what we come up with. Okay. So listen, very excited, like I said, about this morning's guest. I met Reverend Randy. He can't hear me. Huh. Can you guys hear me? I think you can. Let me see what you're saying in there. Yeah, you guys can hear me. Okay, Randy, it's something on your end. I know you can hear me back there. He'll figure it out. So first of all, let me tell you this. I know that today, well, every day is a divine appointment, but today even more so. It's extra special because actually Reverend Randy was supposed to be a guest next Tuesday, and Harrison Klein was scheduled today. And for some reason, I blanked out that whole page in the book and went straight to Randy. Got him promoted and didn't realize until this morning, what did I do? Well, you know what? I've been to the will. So we are where we're supposed to be with whom we're supposed to be here with. Okay. And that's just that. He's got something for one of you today. Maybe even myself. Well, I know that, but he's got something for all of us, but something special is coming for one of you today. A message. I know it. I feel it in my heart. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to get Reverend Randy in here and see if we can figure out why he can't hear me. And welcome to the stage, Reverend Randy Fikki. It's the first time here. Put some hearts on the screen because here he comes.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for having me on. I have no sound for you. I cannot hear you, so.
I wonder why. Turn on your camera. How can he hear me say that, though? Ooh, let me put it in here. See? I told you. Wait till you hear what we're planning on talking about, y'all. It might help you understand what's going on. Let me see. What can I do, you guys? Where's Sherry McQueen when you need her? How to figure this out. Let me see. I'm going to tell him, open your camera. Please. Yeah, how you spell camera? Oh, Lord.
My camera is on and my microphone is on, and I don't see anything. I can see you. I can see both of us on the screen, but I am so grateful to be with you this morning. I just wish I could be able to hear you and we could interact.
Okay. I feel like I know sign language just from typing that in. Reverend Randy, you guys send your power, use your power right now that we fix this situation. Because I'm telling you, we're talking about spiritual warfare today. And I'm going to show a clip. And let me see. He can hear now.
Yes. How are
See?
you?
I
Good
said,
morning. Good morning. Good morning. What an awesome. I think that's a great reminder that oftentimes when we are not hearing and seeing things clearly, we simply just need to reset.
that's it. And you know what? And I told everybody, listen, we do this all the time out here. When the internet starts trying to dip in, I'm like, come on, y'all. Let's use our spiritual power. That's something trying to get in the way, trying to get in to disrupt, distract, keep something from somebody. But trick no good, because purpose always wins. It always wins. So how are you, Randy, Reverend Randy?
You know, it is a beautiful day here in Miami, Florida. I get to start it with a beautiful entity like you. And so I have to say that it's 2 thumbs up this morning.
Thank you. And well, and I know because I talked about it with you. I talked about it with them about how you were supposed to be next week, and here you are today. So, and then the way it started out. So let's get going. First thing I do is I dip out for a second and let you, the guest, have a personal moment just to get your own vibe going with the audience. Put your own on it. And so I'll dip out, introduce yourself, pour into everyone, and then I'll come back in and we'll get started.
That sounds good.
All right. All you.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Reverend Randy Fikki. I am based out of Kansas City, Missouri, and Miami, Florida, and it is just an honor and a blessing to be with you this morning. When I spoke with Lauren this morning and he said, "You're on today," I said, "You know what? There are no mistakes. We are all here by divine appointment." And I believe that the divine has brought us together here today. So I just invite you to start your day the way I start my day, by simply saying, I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of love, light, and wisdom. I am now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of love, light, and wisdom. And I just ask you, how much would your day change if you realized that in any given moment you had an opportunity to choose love, to choose light, or to choose wisdom? Because everything and anything can be solved with one of those 3 ingredients or the combination of all 3. So I just invite you this morning, whatever is going on in your life, whatever happened in the past or whatever you're anticipating in the future, to simply let it go and simply land in the power of now. Simply choose to vibrate at the frequency of love, and simply know that you are here by divine appointment.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, Randy, let's go back and talk a little bit about the origin / hero's journey for you. Where did you start life? What part of the country, and what was your growing up, your informative years? What was that like for you? Was it the textbook story? Was it, mid-America?
It was a combination of all things. So I was originally born in a small country in South America called Suriname. It's located on the northeast corner of South America, right above Brazil. So you have French Guiana, Suriname, and British Guiana, and Suriname was my home. We came to the States in the 70s. My father was a meteorologist for the country and needed some advanced studies, so they sent him to St. Louis University. And we got to the land of awe, or the land where dreams are born, as they used to say. And we never went back. We stayed in the United States and pursued life here.
Wow. Let me come back in. So, did you, when you were growing up, when you were a kid, what did you see out your front window? What did the world look like to you? Did you live in the city? Did you live in the suburbs? Because I'm trying to get to where it is you're serving today, and I just have a feeling there's a connection somewhere.
Yeah, you know, I always say life is exactly as you choose to experience it. And as a child, I grew up in a small little city called Greenfield Village, Missouri. And in Greenfield Village, it was a military base or outside of a military base. And so I was the youngest of 12 children. So there was a lot of mouths to feed. So I didn't realize back then that I was economically challenged, I guess is the best way to say. I don't like to use the word poor, but I was economically challenged. And so looking out the window of a 2-bedroom home that contained 12 children in it, you know, I thought we were living in the lap of luxury because I had come from dirt floors in South America. I had come
You remember that?
So when we came to the United States and we had a 2-bedroom townhouse for 12 kids, I thought we were living in a mansion.
Wait a minute. There were 12 kids and 2 parents all in a 2-bedroom apartment?
Yes, in a townhouse.
In a townhouse.
Yes. So you're talking about, you know, 6 or 7 to a room. I was lucky. There were 4 boys and 8 girls. So the 4 boys had a room and the 8 girls had a room. And my mom and dad slept in our living room.
So wait a minute. Okay, how did that work when you started making friends or your siblings and they come over?
You know, we didn't know any different. You know, we didn't know.
You thought you were rich now.
I thought I was rich because, and I thought that I was loved because all my friends slept by themselves. All my friends were detached from their parents. All my friends were had nothing to do all day. I had a tribe every single day. I woke up with family and friends. I spent the day with family and friends, and I went to sleep with family and friends. And I'm making a strong push to anyone watching today. That is the life we should all be choosing. That is the life we should all be living. Is a life that is filled with family and friends. And I want you to know there are no strangers. So every individual you meet, every individual that you cross paths with has an opportunity to be family or friends.
See, told y'all. Reverend Randy's the real deal. So I got to ask you a question that's a little off topic, but every time I meet people from large families, I have to ask this. The last time I asked this question, I was in the Salt Lake City, Utah airport, and I met 2 Mormon sisters who had 19 siblings, and the mom was currently pregnant with it, right? And I always ask, you know, dinner time. Today, are you a fast eater, Randy?
I am a fast eater. I can sit down and have a full meal in 15 minutes because I actually pushed that trajectory a little bit further because I worked for the school system. And so I got used to only having 20-minute lunches because the kids had 20-minute lunches. And once again, you know, I didn't want to eat lunch in my office. I didn't want to eat lunch in the teacher's lounge. I wanted to be where the children were. And so, you know, it was a 20-minute lunch every day, and sometimes 3 20-minute lunches every day, depending on what lunch shift I went to, you know?
Because a lot of people from those large families saying that was a part of it, because if you wanted seconds, you can be the last one to finish.
And if you didn't eat fast, they would start eating off your plate.
Oh, wow. That's the first time I heard that one, but man. So today, now take us into, you eventually started your own business. I don't know if it was alone or with someone, but you were very successful.
Yeah. So in late 1999, early 2000, I made the conscious decision that I wanted to be in control of my own destiny. And so I started working for myself, and various small businesses popped up. But in 2007, I started a boutique agency. So we were a advertising agency, newspaper, print, radio, broadcast, and was very fortunate to really surround myself by amazing people who helped me grow my business to a multi-million-dollar business. And I
Okay.
ran that business all the way until late 2015, early 2016, and really left because I had no other option. I was called to. And if someone would have used the words, what I was called to do any earlier time in my life, I would have pushed it off as hocus pocus or woo woo.
Woo woo.
You're
Yeah.
called and you're being called. It changes everything.
Did anybody in your sacred circle, did people think you were crazy?
Um,
Randy's lost it. Girl, did you hear what Randy getting ready to do?
yeah, I think that most people thought I was crazy, and most people thought I had lost it. But here's the thing: when you know, you know. When
Mhm.
you're pulled, you're pulled. When you're pushed, you're pushed. When you're called, you're called. When you're anointed and you're ordained, you are anointed and ordained, and no one can take that away. And it's up to you to wrestle with the idea. And I use the word wrestle because sometimes you have to, give it a chokehold, and you have to give everything, the voices that come from outside of you, whether they are transient voices or they are spiritual voices. You have to say to those voices, you know what? I know what I'm here to do. I know who I'm called to be. I know what I'm called to say, and I know where I'm being called to go. And I'm ready, and I surrender. And here I come.
Mm.
Here I am, Lord.
So when you heard the calling, because I know I remember it. I mean, I heard it early in life, but did not know what it was. But when I heard it audibly and cognitively from a place of understanding, I remember that moment like it was just a moment ago. So let me ask you this. I want to set up where we're going next. Now, you're from a Spanish speaking country originally.
It's actually a Dutch speaking country.
Dutch.
A little bit of trivia there. We are the only Dutch colony in the mainland of South America. There are many Dutch islands in the Caribbean, but we're the
Okay.
only Dutch country in the mainland of South America.
Okay. So thank you for straightening that out. So let me ask you this, because the reason I went there is because I know the majority of people in that country and other Spanish speaking, because there's majority of Spanish speakers there,
Mhm.
are traditionally Catholic.
That's correct.
And so were you raised Catholic?
I was raised Catholic, yes, all the way up until 11 years old.
Then what happened?
Then I started playing soccer, and I had the opportunity of going to church or going to my game, and I chose to go to the game.
Backslider. So anyway, okay. So but all your family was still practicing Catholicism.
That is correct.
Okay. So take us to where, because so many of us have grown into where there's a spiritual walk, and religion is different. It's like family and relatives. Family is based in love, relatives is based in blood. Organized religion is one thing, and spiritualism is another.
Yeah.
So can talk about that bridge. And was there ever a battle to get across that bridge of understanding, of acceptance from one thing? Because I can't imagine that it was easy, because, family is like, you're going to do what? And they worry that you're going to burn in hell or hang out in purgatory or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Talk, if you could, a little bit about that journey across that bridge from one place to the next place.
It's very interesting. I always speak in terms of victim, victor, vessel, and verity. And what those are is oftentimes when I meet people who are very religiously bent, and there's nothing wrong with being religiously bent, but they take on one of those four roles. They are either a victim and everything is happening to them, and they're looking for an outside force to save them, or they are a victor and they realize that within them is the presence and the power to be able to overcome any person, place, thing, or circumstance. Or they become a vessel, which means that they know that through God and through them and through whatever deity they believe in. I use the word God because that's the word of my knowing, but I don't want to diminish the fact that there is one presence and one power. And I don't care what you call it. You can call it God, you can call it Buddha, you can call it Allah, you can call it Baha'u'llah, you can call it love, you can call it energy, you can call it self. And it's that last one, the calling itself, that causes a lot of people a lot of discomfort. But here's the thing. I think that what my family and my friends and my relatives learned really quickly was that when I was able to move from a more religious bent to a more spiritual bent, and know that if God, as I'm going to call it for the purposes of this interview, is everywhere, that means it is inside me just as much as it is outside of me.
I agree.
Because there is no place that God is not.
Is not.
And so what I realized was that for me, and I'm only speaking for me, that the God that was inside me was my power. The God that was inside me was my presence. And when people are standing on the sidelines trying to tell you how to play your game, it's really easy for them to do that when you're not scoring or when you're not running with the ball. But what I always tell people is, whatever you choose, if you choose religion, if you choose spirituality, or if you choose to neither, run with the ball, be in control of your own destiny, know where the goal is and know where your goals are.
Yeah.
And don't waste time when it's time to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Because when you're scoring and when you have the ball, people will begin to cheer for you rather than to jeer for you.
Mm.
And so,
celebrate instead of tolerate.
Right. That's it. Right.
Yeah. Oftentimes in my mind, in my journey, I refer to when the calling happened for me, it was like I was called to relocate from one place I had been living to come and live within a new neighborhood, a new community, a new world. And I didn't anyway, realize at the time all that came with that. But I'm so glad that I'm beginning to awaken to all that is available now that I am here. You see, sometimes, that honeymoon phase of, when you fall in love, with something new, that honeymoon phase can last indefinitely. And it really has never left as far as the calling. It feels like I just got married to my calling 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
10 moments ago.
Yeah.
And it's just the most freeing, liberating, and empowering space I've ever dwelled within. I never want to leave. And so let's talk about this. Tell people about the church. And you guys, when the promo went out, you saw I said we were headed for Kansas City. I was speculating, assuming, as the Four Agreements tells us not to do, because Brandy splits his time. Talk about that, what that's all about, and why do you go between Miami and Kansas City? What's in Kansas City and what's in Miami?
Yeah, so the actual physical church, the building itself, is in Kansas City, Missouri. I am the senior minister at Unity Southeast in Kansas City. We are a spiritual community that is radically inclusive, socially responsive, and spiritually progressive. And everything we do is based on one of those three things. Is it radically inclusive? Is it socially responsive? Is it spiritually progressive? That can be referenced in the fact that we are a small building, small church, but huge amount of love that comes out of it. We just finished hosting a 150 bed warming shelter for our houseless. So for 90 days each year, starting December 1st through February 28th of each year, we rent a space in a large warehouse in Kansas City, and we house I used to say up to 150 houseless folks, but what I've learned is we do not have the power of turning people down. And so there were nights where we had 180 and 190 at the houseless shelter. That shows our socially responsiveness. When the Black Lives Matter movement started, we were marching 7,000, 8,000 strong through the streets of Kansas City. to make sure that we were breaking the shackles of each and every individual, of each and every race, of each and every historical background, of each and every place of origin, because the Black Lives Matter movement was not about just people of color. It was about all people understanding that we had a house on fire, and it was our job, no matter what color, no matter what race, no matter how we love, no matter who we love, regardless of how we were raised, regardless of how we were voting, that we had the responsibility and the reality of pouring water on the spot that the fire was burning. And in that moment, the fire was burning on race relations between different entities in the United States. And what we learned real quickly was this was not even just a United States problem. This was a worldly problem.
Yeah.
So that's another reference of our social responsiveness. And then of our spiritual progressiveness, it's really important to understand that we really, the church that I serve, we are really based on the understanding that Jesus was not an exception, he was an example. You read in many passages in the Bible verses like, I and the Father are one, or, all these things I do, you can do and greater. I think we have a lot of individuals who are currently working with a mental mindset, and I don't fault anyone for working with what they have. But there are a lot of people who are walking around, and what they have right now is, that Jesus walked the earth, and wouldn't it be wonderful if we were all like Jesus? I always push the envelope and say, wouldn't it be wonderful if we all realized and remembered we are the Christ? Jesus' last name was not Christ. Jesus, the Christ is what Jesus became by really leaning into the truth that resides within them. And I think that each and every individual can lean into that same truth. I'm sitting right now and I'm speaking to Lauren Christ. I'm walking down the street and I'm seeing men and women who may be struggling right now, but it doesn't make them less the Christ than I am, or than you are, than our listeners are today. And when we start to realize that every individual, whether we like them or not, we still have to love them.
That's right.
Because we are all caught up in each other's stories. And you can't be caught up in a story that you refuse to listen to or you refuse to be told. And so I encourage your listeners today, every opportunity you get, listen. Every opportunity you get, ask what the story is. And every opportunity you get, know that you'll never know the whole story.
I remember when God said to me, I just love it because he has a way of getting in now, it wasn't always this way. It took 100 lashings, for because I was thick, just, I don't know what it was, but I just wasn't ready. I guess that's what it was. But anyway, I remember when God said to me, when you're doing your best within your purpose, there is no in front of or behind. There is no above or below. There is only beside and within. And they said to me, don't just be so quick, Lauren, to turn a blind eye. Whenever you can go like this to any situation that detracts or diminishes another human being, if you can just look away and it not resonate and speak to you in some way of better, the ing of human being, moving up, moving through, growing and ascending, then you're really okay with human sacrifice. And a lot of people don't look at that little thing. They don't give him any money. He's just going to go spend it on dope, right? When something told him, or the person next to him said, I'm going to give it down. Don't. I've had so many people try to stop me from doing things that I was compelled to do. That seemed like little things. But when the time came and I had grown and God had taken me to those bigger things, when people tried that same ploy, I reached for the same gift to help me go to where I was just told to go without being distracted or talked out of it. So I want to go. Can we go back to that first when you said radically inclusive? Inclusive, we all think we know, especially when it comes to churches. You see the signs out there as a gay male, instantly. I see churches when I pass and they got some kind of rainbow thing. All are welcome here. This, that, and the other. So we're used to inclusiveness, and seeing it growing, but I've never heard radically attached to it. What does that look like in the work that you all are doing?
I love the fact that you highlighted that you can drive by churches and you can drive by synagogues and you can drive by imams, and you'll see that sign, you'll see the rainbow sign. I always say to people, there are a lot of buildings and people who claim that they are inclusive, as long as you're willing to believe like them and worship like them and think like them and move like them. So that's not inclusivity.
No, because we've gone looking for a church and went in and never went back.
Right.
Because it didn't deliver.
Right. So radically inclusive doesn't mean just come in and eat off our menu. Radically inclusive means come in and help us decorate the table. Come in and help us decide what ingredients are going to be on the menu. Come in and let's talk about what eating utensils we're going to use. Come in and be a part of the meal rather than the outcome of the meal. Yes. And so radically inclusive means not just you are welcome.
Oh.
Radically inclusive means we are one.
I had to ring a bell on that. Okay. Listen, we're going to take just a brief break, I promise. And when we come back, here we go. We're going to talk about spiritual warfare. Scares a lot of people when you mention that. The power of Christ compels you. They see exorcisms and all kinds of things, but that's not necessarily what it's only about. We're going to talk about that when we come back and a lot more. Now's a great time to share out the broadcast. Get your blessing in the way you give them. We'll be right back. Don't you dare go away.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
All right, welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris, your host. Before we get Reverend Randy Fikki back in, real quick, I wanted you to know about something that really changed my life because it was the beginning of making small choices that created great, big differences in my life. So I used to be into Diet Coke, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you take me anywhere in there, every day. And I ditched it and I picked up V8, and I'm so happy I did. 100% vegetable juice from concentrate. There are 60 calories in every can. I can deal with that. And 2.5 servings of vegetables in every one of these babies. It's easy to find. Simply head down the juice aisle at your local grocer, and I bet you're going to run right into it. I love it. I'm just saying, do what you want to do. But if you're trying to do better and you want to get rid of something that doesn't serve you, the power drinks, the Red Bull, anything that doesn't serve you, and you want to drink something better, try V8. You just might like it. Reverend Randy, pick up a white paging phone. Welcome back. So let's start this segment with this little 1 or 2 minute thing. I found it had a lot of views on it about what is spiritual warfare. Most of them were big 1-2 hour sermons, but this is just a little snippet. And I said, well, here we go. We'll crack the shell with this. Let's take a look.
Welcome to the 1 Minute Apologist. Apologetics seeks to give credible answers to curious questions, to give a defense.
Serious indeed.
What is spiritual warfare? When a Christian refers to spiritual warfare, what they're talking about is this battle that takes place in the unseen world. We know that the evil one is a created being. He is not equal with God. He doesn't have the same attributes of God, yet he's a lot more powerful than we are. And so the Satan and his minions want to oppress your life as believers. Now, as a believer, you cannot be possessed, but you can be oppressed, and he'll seek to do whatever he can to wear you down through doubts, through worries, through fears, through condemnation, through depression, through messing up your marriage, through causing you to get distracted by creating worldliness. And we need to be aware that our battle is not against flesh and blood, as we see in Ephesians chapter 6, but there is an unseen world, and there is a spiritual battle taking place. And I would encourage you to read Ephesians 6, where Paul talks about putting on the armor of God, whereby you could be spiritually protected. So we need to realize when we look at the scriptures that there is the Satan who is after you. There is the adversary, the evil one, the devil, who wants to render you powerless and defeated as a believer. And we also can be encouraged by remembering, as 1 John 4:4 says, he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. But remember that the enemy is like a roaring lion. He roams around seeking whom he may devour. So let's remember James 4:7. Submit to God then. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
Okay. There it is. That's kind of the tone that we always get. And then people are like, oh, Lord, no, don't let him get me. The big bad boogeyman under the bed or in the closet. Yeah. How do you approach this topic in your ministry, Reverend?
You know, I love the fact that he referenced he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. And I want to change that a little bit. I want to say that which is in you is greater than that which is in, because what I know to be true is this. In my belief system, there's only one presence and one power. And so if there's only one presence and one power, there can't be two. And so when we say God is good, or we say love is love, or we say light is light, that is the essence and the truth. There is no opposite. There is no alternate. Any opposite or any alternate is simply something that we are creating in our human consciousness to spend time so we're not feeling alone. And so it's very important to understand the fact that in my belief and my understanding, and it doesn't have to be your belief and your understanding, is that if there is only one presence and one power, and there is only good, then there is no opposite. You know, there is no other. And so to believe there is another is a duality. And if you believe in a duality, then you can't claim your oneness. I'll say that again. If you believe in duality, then you can't claim your oneness. And if we are claiming our oneness and we are knowing that we are part of the presence, the power, the truth, the life, the wisdom, the understanding, the elimination, the zeal that is life.
Well, and there's the word, truth. There is only one truth.
There is only one.
It is the only thing that never changes and can never change on us. But duality begins when people start laying, making the bed with a fitted sheet of one thing and a top sheet of another, thinking it came as a set.
Yeah.
It did not. It did not. They don't even fit. But you're gonna stretch that joint to make sure. You're gonna do whatever you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely right. I agree 100%. Now we're gonna go into some things. Now remember, everybody. Let me do this real quick. Hold on. I remember the day God told me to get it, so I'm gonna be a good steward. Okay. Now that is out there, let's go to some of the comments. I want to know how you feel, Randy, about this, because I'm this part. First of all, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell you what I feel. They listen to talking about the negative, the evil. They listen to what I show them by my body language. They know all of my tells. You see what I'm saying? But I don't believe that anything negative can come inside my head and hear my thoughts. I don't believe that. I don't believe, well, I mean, for me anyway, like this, they can enter your soul. Yes, through invitation. That's how I've been shown, because everything that needs to be drastically, fiercely protected is internal. That's why you have instincts, insight, intuition, intelligence. All of them are internal. And that's why God told me, Lauren, you were never addicted to drugs. You were addicted to abusing my gift of invitation. Because every time you invited it in, it did what it was created to do: destroy, deceive, plunder, and create chaos. And so tell me how you feel.
I started this podcast off, or this stream off, with the understanding that I am now in the presence of pure being. So I believe that we are all in the presence of pure being, and that pure being does not allow for room for hate. That doesn't allow for room for evil. Does not allow for, when we are in our humanness, we straddle the spiritual world and the human world. I always say we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Not human beings having a spiritual one. And so in our humanness,
repeat that one. Repeat it. That warrants being said twice.
We are spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual one. And so when we are in the knowing of the absolute truth, and the absolute truth means that we are moving and guiding and living in an understanding that is unchangeable, that is undeniable, that is unequivocal. That is our spiritual essence. I am love. I am light. I am wisdom. I am good. I am the one presence and the one power. And let me not get it twisted. I am not saying that I am the allness of the one presence and one power. I'm saying I am a part of the one presence and the one power. And so I always tell people, you're not a single drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a single drop. And so when we realize that nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. In the Course of Miracles, they say nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. So in my opinion and in my thinking, and I'm glad you threw the disclaimer up, I strongly believe that we open the door and we open the opportunity to error thinking. And that error thinking is what most people would establish as evil, or establish as the devil, or establish as weapon formed against them. The only person that can form a weapon against you is you. Mm-hmm. The only person that can diminish your dream is you. The only person that can block your good is you. Now, I'm not saying that you are at fault for anything bad that happened in your life, but what I'm telling you is you are responsible for the experience you have with everything that shows up. Each and every single one of us are brought into this human experience as spiritual beings to remember the truth of our spiritualness.
That's
And
right.
so when we get into this human realm, when we get into this earthly existence, we are constantly being challenged to see if we remember whose we are and who we are.
That's right.
And the only way you remember who you are and whose you are is when you're operating out of love, light, and wisdom. Because love, light, and wisdom is the only essence and is the true essence of what that God principle, that God quality is, that love principle, that love quality is. And so anytime we are operating outside of love or operating outside of light or operating outside of wisdom, then we are truly operating in the darkness because of the fact that the light is being diminished, not by anything outside of us, but by us itself.
By us ourselves. I agree 1000%. That is why it makes sense. And you don't hear people talk about this too much, but we need to talk about it more. Everything you just listed is inside my table of contents as birthrights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're not called birth wrongs. That's why growth, what do they call it? They're not called growing. They're called growing pains, not growing tickles, for a reason. You see what I'm saying? And you're right. Birthrights are all of those things. They are mine as a creature of dominion, as an heir of dominion, as the only creature here that has been blessed with speech, like we've been told. It is true. And every time I water down the Kool-Aid, I create that other.
Mm-hmm.
I create that other. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly right. It is. Oh. So let me ask you this. Let me see where we're at on time. Okay, here we go. Okay, when I want to know, because I find it so interesting, because a lot of people say stuff that later they say, I was caught up in the moment, that kind of thing. Talk about this. When we met in St. Louis, and we talked about our trip to Romania.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was there, but I think it was in St. Louis, but then we talked about it more the next weekend in Miami, and how you were, and there's people like that. The PR guy in LA yesterday was telling, yeah, we got you, you're tied in with the LA magazine thing, something else. And oh, by the way, we're considering going with you. And I was like, that happens. You go, mm-hmm. You want to go, yeah. You know, people talk, but talk about this part. What happens inside of your world when you know you're supposed to do something? Because you said, yeah, I want to go. Then you said, or how did you say it? Because it sounded like it was, you just knew. Talk about that. Because our first mind is connected to the creator, I believe. It's everything that happens after that. If we abandon that is called second guessing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Talk about how you know. How do you know?
So,
you know it? Because you said, I know this to be true. And I know what that means in my world. It's not up. The jury's not out. It's not on a flash drive. It's on my hard drive. It's not going to change no matter what.
right. And so it's really important. So, and I mentioned it earlier, but I think it's important to highlight. I start my day every day with these 4 questions.
Wait a minute. I did the wrong thing there.
Okay. I said it earlier, but I think it's important to highlight. I start my day with these 4 questions. Who am I being called to be? Where am I being called to go? What am I being called to say, and to whom? And so there are moments throughout the day that I know I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I know I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I know that I'm being given exactly what I'm to say, and I know that I'm in the presence of that person or those people or the place that I'm supposed to be in. So when you mentioned Romania, it was as if spirits aligned. It is as if the world aligned. It is as if truth aligned. And I knew that it was my responsibility and my obligation and my birthright to go. It was my essence to go. And so I don't know if anybody who's listening to this podcast right now, whether live or whether recorded, is listening to the sound of my voice and saying, there's something about that resonates with me. I invite them to go in deeper and say, what am I being called to do? Who am I being called to be? Where am I being called to go? And if Romania is the place, then reach out to Lauren And who, what am I being called to say? If it's to the people of Romania, give Lauren a call. I know where I'm supposed to be. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know where I'm supposed to go. And I think that each and every one of you knows the same thing. And this is not for everyone.
No.
But some are being called. And some are being ushered away. And so don't limit this by, oh yeah, it's something I can do. Limit it by, is it something you must do?
Yeah.
And if it's a must for you, understand that the one presence, the one power, the truth, the wisdom, the love, the light will find a way to get you there.
Right. Okay, example. You're so right. Dominique Rivera, everybody here knows her. She comes on, and next week she'll be here with the experts, my monthly show. And she's known as the Oracle. And I know she's the real thing. She is gifted. She is anointed. I know it because she was, from the moment she entered my world, the way it came was so different. The way she arrived, and there was a medical thing, and a healing took place, or a literal one, where I was on my way to the hospital for the 5th MRI would die in it or whatever, and went there and did it. To this day, it disappeared, and they have never even brought it back up, as if all the records disappeared too. No one said, 4 years ago, whatever turned out with that thing we were checking, nothing, right? So she was on the fence about Romania, and then she did something. She says, I did a bibliomancy. I don't know what that is, but she said, on a book. And this was the message. And she sent me a screenshot. And it's just filled with hope, 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 hope. Bring hope, share hope, blah, blah, blah. Then she said, followed by seeing this in my bathroom, even though this bottle has been here for over a few months, I've never seen this part of it before. And look, I hope I can get it. If you see the code.
Yeah.
Look what's at the top of the code. Hope. So she goes, that's it. I'm going. So talk about that. Sometimes it comes, bam. Sometimes it gets sprinkled in, because of, I believe, the gift of seeking and the guarantee that comes with it. Yeah. When you seek, you will find it. Talk about that. What do you think that something like, how do people know they're hearing? How do they know to follow what they hear? Because we're groomed to question everything.
Yeah, and I'm gonna encourage you to question nothing. Question where it comes from. If the voice that you're hearing is coming from outside you, then it is the world speaking to you. If the word that is coming from within you, then it is your voice. It is your truth. It is your destiny. And I will say that it is your destiny. And so many of us are walking around and wondering why we're feeling anxious, or why we're feeling depressed, or why we're feeling angry, or why we're feeling confused. The reason why we feel angry and depressed and anxious is because we're not living as our destiny, in our destiny, and through our destiny. Ooh. And so I encourage you to ask, what is my destiny? Because when you know your destiny, you know no evil. When you know your destiny, you know you're good. When you know your destiny, you're living in, through, and as your God. Whatever name you call it. So today I encourage everyone that's watching or listening to move in love. Move in love, become love, and know that in its simplest form, you are love, because God is love. And you are being called. You are being moved. You are being guided. You are being pushed. You are being pulled. But most importantly, you are being aligned to your truth. And so don't dismiss it.
Right.
Don't put it off for tomorrow. Don't say I'll get to it next year. Because the only thing you will ever have, and the only place you will ever be, is now.
Yeah.
And so push your now.
That's right.
Move your now. Find your now.
There it is. Couldn't have said it better myself. Forever, Andy. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you for agreeing to come on this mission of hope and really to be our spiritual advisor. I would never pour that responsibility on the people that I trust and trust me unless I was told that this is what must be. And I was told it was asked and it was answered on through both of us. And I'm so encouraged. And so listen, you guys, you're part of this destiny, which is this mission of hope. Doesn't mean you have to go on the trip, but it could mean something else that enhances and supports the trip, which is the mission. And the mission is the trip. It's all one. Today, choose to be your highest self. And you've chosen everything, like Randy said, that is your destiny. Choose to be your highest self and choose to accept what is available to help get you there. It is not the power of me. It's the power of we. Thank you so much, Reverend Randy.
Thank you. So honored to be on, and this will definitely this definitely goes in the record books. I was in the presence of pure being, and it is you, Lauren Michael Harris.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel the same. Looking forward to so much ahead for all of us. And you guys, along the bottom of your screen right now, and I've also taken the liberty of dropping the link inside your comment section for easy use at the conclusion in just a moment. Use it. Get over. You are going to be amazed. But then when you really look into the work of Reverend Randy Fikki, you're going to say, I'm not surprised. I expected every bit of this. So get over and check it out. Get out today and be the very best you can be. I, God willing, will join you tomorrow morning yet again, right over there on the front porch, as together we create another divine moment in time through illuminated conversations right here on Bathrobe Moments. Have a great day and be the greatest you can be. Thanks, Reverend. Great job. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show